Yes. How's it going? Yeah, my name is Chad, Lil Coyote Yellowjohn. I'm Spokane and Shoshone. My mom is I'm from the Fort Hall Reservation. My dad is from the Spokane area. We grew up around everywhere else too. And yeah, I was raised in around Washington, which is the South Hall Reservation. And yeah, I've been drawing since I was a kid. I don't know how many people know about my whole childhood, but yeah, so I grew up considered a mute until the age of 7, and from the age of 4 or 5, my family went to Disneyland, and we didn't have iPad back in the day. They gave me an old Garfield notepad, and I would draw like the little, plane with seats inside of it. And then when we left Disneyland, my brother started to recognize the characters I was trying to draw. And if you look at the drawings, they look pretty horrified, the characters, but they knew who I was trying to draw. But drew Goofy, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, Peter Pan, Dumbo, and then slowly that was my way to keep me interested. I was more a wild child that didn't know how to speak. And then so that was my form of communication. I was sad, mad, bad, any type of Chad.
That was
But yeah, so that was your way of communicating with me. And when Space Jam came out, that's when I slowly started to take off with my art, because it was my favorite basketball player and also my favorite player playing basketball. And I would watch Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the Goofy movie, and Goofy was my favorite all time, because he's also, I don't know, he's a single dad who just wants to be part of his son's life, and that's something who I struggled with one day. And so I would pause the movies and I would draw the characters. And I was able to just freehand it basically. And then I started to create my own illustrations, my own stories with the walls. It was me fighting aliens or fighting monsters, Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
Yeah. So, or this is embarrassing. Or it's it was me and I think it was Mario and Bugs Bunny saving the love of my life from the healing, and it was Britney Spears.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, but yeah. So today I don't know how to speak upon negative issues verbally, and the only way how I did it is the same way I communicate. I communicate with the people with how I feel about a certain issue, and it's also emotional release. When there's something cooped up inside me, that's my form of energy. So, but yeah, today we're going to learn how to do portraits, and the easiest one to do to workshop wise is do a side portrait of somebody. It could just be anybody. You don't have to necessarily draw the person, but just a side portrait of somebody. You don't have to know them, just a person. Yeah, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Are there any questions? No? Yes. So you're gonna have 2 pieces of paper in front of you. One paper is to test out your markers, and then the other paper is to test out, even I don't know, just practice run of how you want to do your strokes. And then your editor group is your paper that you're going to be using. And so for the candidate types of the and the paper towel that you have in front of you, that will mostly be used in this first part because whether you're left or right, when you draw, you're also rubbing your side of your hand on paper. So you want to spray it, wipe it, and that's how you get like clean work. Okay, so this first part is a little bit tricky. And also one thing that I've noticed, like when I draw, is the bigger the circle, the more stiff I have my arm. So imagine, it's kind of like this, like a big circle, smaller circle, it's smaller, even smaller. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there's a little technique within like the ratio of your arm. Like if you want a straight line, you want to keep your arm straight. You just keep it like this. If you want a circle, like imagine like the size of your circle, you're gonna use like just like your wrist. But if you want it bigger, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this first part, we're just doing very light touches with it. We're not putting hard pressure because we also need to erase the. Do you know the music? Cool. Thank you. So this first part, we're mainly going to use a pencil, erase it, hand sanitizer, paper towels. Hey, how's it going, sir? What is that? Okay, Hoso?
Hoso.
Okay. And, Wowani. Yeah, okay, Wowani. I got the first part right.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have nails. I just drew out my nails, too. Okay.
Did you want to trade yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me yours.
Okay, is everyone ready with this pencils?
Yeah. Pencil cut down.
Okay, so you're gonna have to use your eye, but this is like where this is how you make kind of like a perfect circle. It starts off with like many giraffes of where you see the circle, and then you have to visualize the circle and erase the parts that aren't part of that perfect circle that you have created. Okay? So lightly, you're gonna go do a circle and do maybe like 4 strokes or 5, 5 circles lightly.
Yeah, nope, still there.
Okay. Oh, cool, you guys can see that. And remember, you want to put light pressure. And you also want to leave room at the bottom because that's where we're going to put the chin and then the root, neck, and also raise the. Okay. So now you're going to put a chin, and we're going to go from the edge or the part of the edge of the circle, and then we're going to go straight down. And with this one, you can either use your wrist or to get like a straight line. And lightly. Remember, you want to go lightly. And then you're going to go straight out. So you're going to create like more of like an L.
So is the bottom of the L supposed to touch the other end? Or?
It can go as far as down, but that's like where my comfort zone. So this is where you create a little comfort zone where the bottom's going to touch. So you can go way down here. And the other thing too, when I was teaching the children in my community, is that they were kind of disappointed with how it was looking. And one thing I had to teach myself and teach them is that to be patient with yourself. It doesn't like there are many projects that I've had where it just looks like what's that, and then at the end of the process it just becomes like this beautiful thing. I'm very happy that I did not quit. Okay, cool. So this part, we're going to do the brow. And we're going to have like a little slight bump. And also connect this. So makes sense. If something doesn't make sense, let me know. When I explain things, I've noticed that it makes sense to me. So if it doesn't make sense, please don't hesitate and ask. Yeah.
I got a fake head anyway, so it's okay.
And also, if your peers don't mind, but don't mind looking at your peers to get a better, understanding of the brow. Be patient with yourself. And so now we're going to draw the nose, and you can either have it way out here, you can have it way down here, right there. But make sure to leave yourself some room, because we're also going to do the mouth down here. So so once you have your light outline of how you want your nose to be, that's when you'll create your own little hook, if you notice it. So I chose this line right here, but I'm going to create a little hook. I'm going to go out a little bit, and then come back in. And then now we're going to do the mouth. And we're going to do the line of the lip, of the lip line. So don't do too much, don't do too big. I mean, if you want to. There's actually no wrong way to do this. So from this point, right here, is we're going to create kind of like a Y. And then we're going to create little mountains for the mouth. We got that. And we got that. So we should get that.
Hey, what you pointing at? Who's over
there?
Over there. You guys are all doing very well, I promise you.
Yes, that's right next to us.
I ain't gonna worry about it.
This is awesome. I love you guys. Okay. So let's do the eye. And so from the top of your nose,
I got the perfect nose.
right there. So this is our focal point. And you're going to make a triangle, or kind of like a diamond.
Is it a triangle or is it a diamond?
It's more like a arrowhead. How about that?
Arrowhead.
And then you're going to make kind of like a slight curve.
That was a pyramid that's over.
The top that is kind of like the focal.
Sort of, yeah. It's around this area.
Oh, so we made a little tiny cone.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys seen that one video of that bear tipping over that cone back up.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great. And he was just like, yeah, he walks away.
But yeah. And now we are going to erase the inside markings of your face. Okay, everybody, spray your hand. So and actually it's not spray, so be careful. Yeah. And get the side of your hand right here to avoid the markings. And when I'm drawing too, over time, if you feel your hand is getting sweaty, that will also leave markings on the paper. So make sure to routinely wipe the inside of your hand. Now we're going to do the ear, and that's going to be in the middle of your. So imagine like a little line. I'll just draw it out. You don't have to do this. and you want to make it past this, put your ear somewhere back here. You don't want to do it way over here, maybe around this area right here. And the ears can, there's some that have earlobes. Actually, I've been told I got big earlobes. Or fry bread earlobes. And also, if you want to like have fun with it, you guys will also like give it like elf ears. So if you did the marking in the middle, you erase that as well. So I call these guys the stairs. And it starts from the top of your forehead. You can either give it a forehead or a flat head. I'm going to give this guy. So the top of the stairs is don't go too far. It's kind of slanted and short. And then you have your first downfall, which goes part of the way. And then you have their second step. And then you go down again to meet with your ear. You want to make sure you go light with the pencil as well, as a reminder. And then you have your final step that meets at your ear. So now that you got to this point, are you guys back there? You're going to use this edge right here, and you're going to just like lightly erase, and it will also make sure you can see your markings that you made.
Oh, you gotta take the whole thing apart.
Don't press too hard. Because I've had like the youth, they would erase it, and it's like I can't see anything, and then I kind of like. And remember, be patient with yourself. It doesn't look exactly what you are expecting right now. End result, give it time, nurture. It'll turn out beautiful. Okay, so for this one, I always start with the forehead. I don't know what it is about me and the forehead. And so this is where you want to practice, with, your pen, with your draft paper, I think I can call it. So.
What size? The 3?
Any size, really. You guys want to we'll do the 8.
Well, that's not what I grabbed.
To get a good fine stroke, you want to move easily and also press not too hard, because if you press too hard, you kind of get these like those, I don't know, like those odd looking strokes. Now, if you don't press too hard, but give it like a little nice pressure, you get like that fine line. And so this is what I'm talking about with like the whole like ratio. Like there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this. So there's like 3 strokes. So I would suggest with this one, using this. Second stroke, yeah. Well, I don't know. There has to be a cool word how to use that. Second gear.
Second gear.
Yeah. All right. So you're gonna start from the top of the hairline, and also turn your paper to your own comfort. It's important that you twist the paper at your own comfort, because or else you're constantly trying to get over here, and you're not going to get the straight line that you want. So it's important to twist your paper for your own comfort. One thing that I picked up from working with markers my whole life is there's going to be mistakes made, and you can either trash it or you can work with it. And I've learned to work with my mistakes and also adapt to it. Then also kind of like works with like, like with life, like mistakes are going to be made in your life. And either work with it or forget about it. But I mean, like, it's going to eventually come back up. So work with your issues and everything will be fine. Okay, so for this one is going to be kind of tricky. So I'm going to turn for my own comfort because when you're making a circle, you want to work with the angle of your hand to get that nice curve. Now it's a little awkward if I want to do that because my hand doesn't work well with that curve. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna turn my paper so that I get that nice curve right in this area right here. And then I'll stop right there. And then I'll turn my paper this way so that my wrist works well with this this marking right here. How's your window?
Hey, this one's came out way better.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like mine. It looks like we changed noses.
And if you guys want to do bangs, we'll do that later. But but I know you wanted to do it. Yeah. So don't touch the hat at all. But yeah, you're doing well. Good idea. Let's move forward. Okay, so now we're gonna do the top of the. What do you call this part?
The Cupid's bow.
Oh,
Cupid's
this is
bow.
That's what that's actually called. Cupid's bow.
Cupid's bowl.
Bow.
Wow, cool. I'm just imagining like Cupid like eating bowls. Okay, so now we're gonna do Cupid's bowl, and then we're gonna do the upper lip, and then the bottom lip. And for the inside line of the mount of the right here, I'm gonna have I'm gonna do so imagine this part right here. I'm gonna do kind of like a slight grin, but it's gonna have like kind of like a little hook in the inside. But you want it to go straight out, not slanted.
Too late when I said it.
So go straight out. Don't go slightly up or down.
Well, my sir here's got jibs.
Are there any questions so far, ladies
I
and
would
gentlemen?
That's me being nervous.
Don't be nervous. That's good. I mean, I'd be worried if you weren't. That's what I picked up from my brother. Is like, if you weren't nervous, I'd be worried. Okay, so now we're gonna do the bottom of the lip. And so for this one, you want to bring your pencil back out, and you want to have like this loop to your chin. You can drop the chin further if you want. Or do you want me to go over and up you up?
Yeah.
Don't abuse your power.
Hey, I play that drum.
Okay, so now you can bring your pencil back up, and also try not to touch the with your. Don't touch the eraser with your pen marking because they're not fully dry. Because that's those slides. So every pencil mark that you make, you want to make sure that you slightly erase it. and then bring out your pin again. You don't want to go with your chin, don't go all the way back, because you guys might want to do a neck.
I want to do that.
And then we're going to do the eye. The eye. Wabam. Wabam. And wabam.
Okay.
You guys?
Yeah. I don't know why yet. I don't know who
You're just creating your dream man.
Becky got cavemen going on over here.
Got a girl going.
Okay, so now we're going to do the ear. We're going to start from the bottom of the stairs, and then for those who don't have hats on, we're going to start with the top. Start with the top of the stairs. Go down. Second set of stairs. And down to your final step. And for the head, I'll either go, if you like your guys' head shape, go right ahead. And for me, I'm going to slightly flatten it, because I know some flat components.
Yeah, I think this thing.
And then,
I feel like, yeah, but I don't want the box head on this character.
Say what size it is.
I'm sorry.
so make your adjustments with your head if you guys want to. If not, feel free to run ahead. Is there anyone that wants to do a certain hairstyle actually before you guys do that? Like, do you guys want to have like free hair, Navajo bun, ponytail, braids? I'll assist you guys with anybody who wants to make that adjustment. But for me, I'm going to do braids. So, how I'm going to do the braids, and this is how I do my braids. And it's actually, I don't know, it's kind of cool. So it's kind of like you're starting off with the highway, and this is like your point of view, and then you're slowly working off into the distance. And you meet with that. You meet the focal point. And so I start with, so you have the three lines right here, and I meet with this. It's kind of like a boom, 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 boom style. And I make noise whenever I'm teaching, so please don't mind me. And you're creating like this zigzag type fill.
That meets back in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you meet them right there. And then at the top, it's almost like you're giving this like this S fill. You go up, and it's kind of like, you see like those, it's kind of like you're going up and then back in. So that's how I do my braids. And, but for this one, I won't necessarily do that, but,
For this one, I won't do that.
yeah.
So that's how I do mine. But this one, I'm not doing that.
So what I've noticed is, like, when I do, it's almost like a, what you call it, swirl, basically, where you're going down.
That looks like the upside down unicorn.
Yeah. And then you kind of, I don't know, like this one is still trying. I have trouble explaining this style, and it's kind of like this is where you kind of like have to watch me. And if you need help, I'll help you guys out. If you guys want to do grids, but it's like after you did the loop, you're doing like kind of like a hills. You're kind of doing hills in the
Then
back.
you just gotta fill it in then.
Yeah. But you have to match the amount of swirls you have and meet the hills with the exact same number. So you have your first swirl, hill. Second swirl, hill. Third hill. Fourth hill. And also, the other thing too, like when you're finished with your pieces, don't point out your mistakes. There's many people, like my mom, who was it? No, it was my cousin. She said, I was like, yeah, but I messed up. She's like, no, don't tell me. That's for you to know. I adore it. Don't ruin the movie for me, basically. So, if you haven't outlined your hair, this is where we're gonna do it. I'm gonna start at the top. Be sure to move the paper. Oh, also do a hand check too. That's to avoid the whole like marking, because as you glide your hand around the paper, it picks up pencils. So, and use a different napkin if you use it for your pizza. And also, the distance you go, it's kind of like you have to reset your hand. Because don't try to do the whole line by one stroke. Adjust your hand, scoot it over a little bit, continue, scoot it over. Because if I do that, it's gonna like your hand's like basically like I'm trying to reach over it, you know.
So I can do my hand.
Yeah. Oh, wait, don't do your hair yet. I gotta let me do the bill for you. My elder. And in this process, don't follow me right here because I'm kind of like jumping everywhere. If you got everything marked, and if you feel like everything is dry,
I already missed it.
like what I do is I grab like 2 fingers, like this right here, and I'll slowly just like don't wave around too much. You're just drying out your ink so that you can, yeah. Don't spin on it because. Cool. And then when you feel like it's dry, grab your pen, grab your marker, and just erase it.
My guy, look at that mess that was here.
I would believe that is the final step of the whole outline. So if you guys got places to be, feel free to excuse yourself. But if you guys want to stay and work on the shading with copic markers, feel free to stay. Everyone just gets up and leaves. I mean, some of you guys could stay.
Two. I have to choose. So 2:30.
Okay, so if you guys ever want to explore more into like the copic area, what helps me out is I'll draw put it on paper, and I would also write the number down because some of the markers, how they have it displayed on the marker, isn't truly the color that I was looking for. So I have to look at it and also see what trouble I'm getting into. But I mean, like this one would be easier, but this is just like an example of what I do. Is I'll write down the color and the number. We are going to start with C3. My precious lab rat. I'm going to try this out.
C3?
Yeah, C3.
Yes, C3.
And the edge that I like to use is the brush end.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. And so when you're doing this, like again, you want to make sure, it's kind of like you want to plan your trip ahead before you actually put the marker, because you'll get, I don't know if you guys have seen that like with Crayola markers, like if you stay in one spot, you can definitely see it.
Yep.
Kind of like you'll get that.
Yeah.
So you want to have like a nice stroke. And when I do it, when I don't look at where my marker is. I look ahead of where the marker is. It really is kind of like being on the road. You want to look ahead of you and, find out where the bumps are or where the road stops. So you guys, I would definitely recommend practicing on this first before you actually go on to this. So yeah, start with the head. And then I'll stop right there. And then I'll start at the bottom of the nose, and then I'll do the bottom of the chin, Cupid bowl, and I'll go at the bottom of the nose. I'll stop right there. You don't want to go right here. You want to go right there. And then I'll do another layer on the forehead. So there's like 2 set of 4s, and right there. This is C3. And then I'll do the bottom of the nose again. I won't go all the way. For some of you, if you guys want to, you can go ahead. I'll stop right there. And then this part is kind of tricky, so I definitely would, if you guys want to, you guys can, but use a slight pencil to mark it. Don't mark too much of it, but like, I'll meet the bottom of the eye, meet with the nose. If you guys can see that, can you guys see that?
No.
Okay. Bottom of the eye, meet with the nose. And then the eye, or the nose, the nostril, will meet with the bottom of the side of the mouth. But not too harshly, but just very, very, very softly as you can. And then after I've done that, I would grab my C3, move over there, and then slightly go past, and lightly let go so that you get that nice point. Like,
Do you have to erase that line, or
no, you don't
you
have
can just drive right over?
Yeah, because it's gray, your markers are gray, so it should be available. So you want to have that nice stroke, and lightly let go so you got that point.
Well, I'm not with that.
Then you can go down further if it helps you out. And lightly let go. Let me know if those are making sense. That's why I like this brush tip, because it gives me nice points. And then I'm just gonna add another layer. Me with the other one, and lightly let go. And then I'm gonna go to the neck. And then I would always stop right. Gosh. I would meet right there, and then I would use the very tip of the marker to fill in those spots I didn't fill. And then I would do another, and then match the set of floors that you did with the bottom of your eye, and meet with the corner of your eyebrow. In this area, you're going to meet it right here. Now we're going to do, C1. Okay, so now we're going to go over basically like this whole layer. You're going to just like go halfway. You'll see that very vague like middle line of those lines, and you're going to mark it to that point to get that fade. And you're basically just kind of like mopping with it to get that nice blend with that C3 color.
I like it.
And then you're gonna do the same thing with your nose. It's gonna look wet, so if it
Okay.
yeah, and it'll dry out. It'll definitely like look good once it dries out. And then with your lip. Okay, so then you're gonna do your neck. And I'm also gonna be using my like kind of like imaginary line. And then we're gonna do the cheeks. And then same thing, I'm gonna create another point. And then top of the eye. So with the C1, to give it more of like a shady look, this is how I'm gonna do it. Don't bring your pencils out. This is just like to give you a visual. I'm gonna like slightly go up with the curve and go meet up with the bottom of the ear.
Maybe like a jaw.
Oh, the jawline?
Yeah. So I'm gonna do that. So it's got, or yeah, you guys can start from the bottom or work your way up. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start and go down.
That's C1 stuff.
Yeah. And then I'm just gonna fill in this whole area right here. And then I'm going to bring out my C5 and you're going to imagine a line that goes straight up like that, and then you're going to fill in this area right here. What's that? C.
Automatic reaction.
C5, but you asked me to use C3. I meant to use C3. We're still fine though.
So are we supposed to be using C3 or C4?
C3 or C5?
I'm using C5. If you guys want to use C5, go ahead. C3. Either or. There is no wrong way to do it. You say
2 or 4. Almost 2. All right. Yeah, 'cause my sister's coming. I gotta jump in with her.
Okay.
But then I was gonna stop in there.
And then with your C3, this time, is you're going to work on the side of your ear, anywhere, and then you're gonna let it go. And then you're gonna do the same thing with the top of it. On this area right here. And then you're gonna bring out your C1 and work with it as well. That nice blend. And bring out your C3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work a little bit on this area right here, like I did with this part. Have like a little inside shading. And if you guys have harsh lines like that, you know how like you don't really see that blend right in this area, is I would grab the lighter color and mix both of them together with that blend. This is a C1 that I'm using to get that blend. And so compared to what it looked like, now you're starting to see that blend. So we're going to work on some. So on the face, we did the C3 and then the C1. And right now, after your one's caught up, we will do the C5. And this part, I'm going to experiment with. So for this one, with the C3, it's gonna be critical. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have that backlight on this one. You see like right in this area right here, there's that backlight over here. I'm going to create that. But if you guys want, you guys can touch the edge and you can get that instead. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to avoid the edge. And I'm going to start with the C5, but go very like skinny with it. And then I'm going to stop right there. And I'm gonna try my best to not touch the edge. And then same thing with Cupid's bowl. And go right there. And for this one, for the eye part, you don't have to avoid the edge. Obviously there's no edge, but like same thing with the neck, I'm gonna avoid the edge. And then I'm gonna do the chin. Work with the chin again.
Good. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you. Is there any trouble with anybody? Are you guys all catching up? Do I have time to run to my young elder? Okay. So this is where I start remarking everything. C3 to get more of that fade with the C5. And you're just going to do one. But you're going to make sure that you're touching the C5. You want to make sure that you're on the right side of C5 on this part over here. And then after you did the C3, you're going to use C1 now. And you're going to go on the right side of C3. And you should slowly start seeing the fade. I'm going to bring out my C5. And I'm going to go from this point, from like the top of the lip, and go straight to the side of the mouth.
Oh.
And then you should get that upper lip shading. And then I will bring out my C3 and do the same thing with the bottom. And me with the.
Well, I made it look like you had a milk stash. That's fine.
So now we're going to do the hair. And for those who did braids, let me see your ones, actually. Hair. Okay. You guys, okay. So for those who did braids, what we're going to do is you're going to work with your steps, with your first step. And you're going to use your pencil with this one. And you're going to imagine your hair going behind your ear. And you're going to kind of like work it with your braid. So basically your focal point of the top of your head is going to meet this area right here. You want to give it space. And then same thing with the second set of stairs. You're going to make it go behind the ear. And these are just like reference points so that we can work on shading. You are going to grab your, trying to think of like past mistakes that my mistakes were. Let's go with C3. Okay, so never mind. No, C3. C3. Okay. Last final decision. This is going to be you're going to basically mark your lighting on your head.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so, and you're only, the same thing, you're only going to do, you're basically just doing this. You're just leaving space. And you're working with the strokes that you made.
Okay. No.
And so why I did that was because we're going to use C3 and we're going to avoid this middle area. We're going to avoid where we just marked with C1. We're going to. So I just marked C1 right here. And I worked with the strokes. And so now we're going to bring out our C3 and we are going to avoid this part where we marked with C1. So make sure C1 doesn't touch that area. And you're going to start with the top of your head, and you're going to put in like two sets of floors. And now, once you have done that, same over here with the right here. The reason why I had you guys do that was so you guys don't have to worry about the edge touching the edge. And then I'm just going to slowly just start doing that phase C3. And work with your strokes too. With the pencil markings. And then same thing. I'm going to do another layer. This area between the ear, most likely will just like fill that whole thing in until I get to until it drops. So you see where okay. And so same thing down here. I'm gonna turn the angle of my paper for my comfort and work with the strokes and the same thing. But also make sure you avoid the C1 area. Because that's his territory. So now we are going to do C5. And we are not going to, we're basically going to avoid the edges on that one. Same thing. But same thing, I'm gonna go to the edge, so I don't have to worry about touching the edge. C5. And for the reflection of the braids, these of each swirl, this will be my focal point on the corners. And you have that little sunset look, like that. Same down here. Sunset. Sunrise, sunset. That's my dad's drum group. I'll call this style. Yeah. You want to do it very lightly. Well, not too much of sunrise, sunset, just a little bit. Same thing with C3. Start from the corner. Sunrise. Sunset. Grab out your C1. And it's okay to fill in the whole space with C1. Yeah, that's how you do the reflection, but I might make it a little bit dark. For the other side of the braid, if you guys have this type of style of braid, sunrise over here. This whole edge would be your sunset. Okay, with the C5 right here, I would do a C3 and go further. Yeah, and blend the C5 and the C3 in the back of the head to get that fade of the hair. For me, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to make the outside of the braid a little bit darker. So I'm going to do like another sunrise, sunset, and look together to kind of like match this area. And so when I'm looking, so it's basically like you have to like reevaluate your creation, and sometimes I'll look at like a certain piece for hours, or I won't even touch it, and I'll even like ponder on it, like what adjustments can I make to make it look better. This is what I'm going to do. We haven't used like 3 yet. Where's my C8? Did I leave my C8 with you?
I'll say I got a couple eights right here. This-
I think he's done with it.
Okay.
Just walk
So
away.
for me, what I'm going to do, to give this a little bit more detail, if you guys want to follow along, this is more like another step. If you guys want to follow along, but you guys could be done if you guys want to. But this is what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to
Okay.
just like kind of like to the point where I'm at the edge of C5, and follow the strokes of your pencils if you guys can see it. And if you guys cross line, that's perfectly fine because not everyone's hairline's that's true. And then with this one, it's kind of fun to play with because I can do like little strands of hair, but I might do C3 with that one and work with the hair. There's a couple of strands here and there to do more of like a rugged look. And I'm gonna kind of like do like more out of the line of the braids. Then also some hair strands coming out. If you want to put a little eye shadow, not eyeshadow, but like within the eye on the top with C3, and then do with C1.
Yeah. Like that.
Oh, good job, Dolly.
Thank you, Chad. You just made my day. This is gonna be the best birthday present.
Yes.
He might eat the jar.
Couple's got to show them how to do it.
Yeah.
So, Chad, I will say we're about 10 minutes out from 3.
Okay. You guys all good to go? Is there any questions? Any last minute questions? Any last minute favors?
I wanna fit it.
You want to feather?
Thank you. Double.
Well, as I'm doing this, are there any other questions I can?
You put your sign.